Okay, now picture this. There's a man, a military man, that birthed IRL Speedruns. He served proudly within the Navy, with the dream one day to become an employee for the federal government. But what stood out about this man, what shined the brightest about this beautiful specimen of a human being, is his special talent. He achieved an immaculate time save, thought to be impossible by other runners and deemed undoable according to every single tool-assisted speedrun. This man cooked minute rice in just 58 seconds. Now hold up, did I just say IRL speedruns? What the heck is that? That's not a thing. But I'll tell you, IRL speedruns are speedruns that just aren't centered on gaming, and instead within the scope of everyday life. Now you may be sitting there thinking, well, Chemical Packer, aren't the athletic sports just the very example of IRL speedruns? You'd be right, because I got about halfway through writing this script before I realized that by my very own definition, Usain Bolt running 100 meters in under 10 seconds is by my very own definition an IRL speedrun. But let's face it, no self-respecting human would refer to these sports as speedruns, so instead this video focuses on far less mainstream topics. Now I'm sure there are many of us who spent our time on Twitch and YouTube consuming a whole variety of speedrunning content. We'll sometimes browse the directory and search for a new and interesting speed game to try out, or to just watch an interesting or difficult run being performed. Well, one day I was doing exactly this, and I noticed that Pringles, yes, Pringles, had a hefty amount of viewers on Twitch, so curiously I clicked on it, and what I found was something I had never seen before. I discovered that there existed a platforming Pringles video game where you navigate levels as the disembodied head of Julius Pringles, bouncing around on floating Pringles chips. I then later learned that within speedrun.com there's a miscellaneous category for the Pringles video game that's entirely focused on eating various types of Pringles as fast as possible, with a bajillion different subcategories for a multitude of Pringles containers, from the little dinky 19-gram packets all the way to large tubes we all know and love to get our hands stuck in. Thankfully I was able to catch Eric PR46's attempt to get the world record for the 19-gram packet subcategory. Watching him I was enthralled, entertained in an utter disbelief that someone on this planet was actually doing this. I was inspired by this man, so much so that I'd actually added a 12-pack of those tiny tubes of Pringles to my Amazon cart, ready to try and obtain my own world record. But after watching for long enough, I realized that Eric was quite simply built different. There was no way I could handle going toe-to-toe with him. I stopped myself from making that purchase. Not only because I was a very fat man, but because I saw his discomfort as he swallowed those reconstituted potato snacks down, and I let my dream of becoming the Pringles world record holder dissolve, much like saliva does to a tasty salted potato chip. Now, eating delicious crisps as fast as possible isn't the only IRL speedrun out there. Pencil Sharpening Simulator, a game about sharpening pencils, has several speedruns posted up on speedrun.com. This game also boasts of an IRL section split into two categories, Drill and Drillless, which are both further split into two subcategories which require either one pencil to be sharpened or 10. What I found absolutely hilarious is how serious the rules are with these runs. They require a specific length of pencil, they need to be sharpened down to a certain length, and there's a whole razor discussion going on too. Currently, Small Ant holds the world record for the Drillless category, where he adopted a sharpening technique that doesn't absolutely decimate his wrists, while Surpiece HLPC has the Drill category world record held down, displaying an incredible show of precision, inserting and replacing the pencils as each one meets their extremely sharpened demise. Arcus, a retro speedrunner and streamer on Twitch, speedran the assembling of a burrito with an incredible setup that included splits for each ingredient, including the tortilla, beans, cheese, and everything else that goes into the delicious dish. His first attempt resulted in a time of 3 minutes and 5 seconds, an instantaneous world record, but Arcus knew that there was magnitudes of time saved to be had, and by golly did he find it. His most recent attempt brought that assembly time all the way down to 13.97 seconds. It's unclear if Arcus will attempt to bring that time down further, or if someone else will take on the mantle. Unfortunately, this run does not include the consuming of said burrito. The tool-assisted speedrun, that is to say the fastest possible consumption of a burrito by non-human standards, belongs to Bubba the dog, who successfully consumed a burrito in less than 2 seconds. Now, I'm no stranger to IRL speedruns myself. I participated in a competition on Twitch to see who could make the better chocolate cake. My competitor was tasked with trying to bake a cake blindfolded, while I had only 25 minutes to make a cake completely from scratch, including the cooking time. Of course, both these creations were disgusting, moist, but incredibly displeasing to try and eat, no matter how much icing we slathered on the brown masses we dared to call cakes. But due to the time limit I had set, and spending over 8 minutes getting the batter prepared, there wasn't enough time to let it bake in the oven, so instead I had to resort to using a frying pan to cook it in time. And what ended up happening was I created some kind of fucked up scrambled egg mixture. Easy Speezy, a prominent speedrunning YouTuber, has attempted to make 100 pancakes with different toppings as fast as possible. His first attempt back in 2020 included 7 different types of pancakes, but he later came back to this attempt in June 2021 and sliced his time nearly in half, from 56 minutes and 35 seconds all the way down to 33 minutes and 58 seconds. In the follow-up video, he employed a couple of time-save methods by making fewer varieties of pancakes, instead relying on just plain chocolate chips and M&M variations, and also spending less time mixing the ingredients. Now I know that most of these runs have all been food related, however there are some serious speedruns that exist out there, and some non-food based ones. For example, speed cubing, which was spawned around 1982, centers around competitors attempting to typically solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube as fast as possible, although different categories do exist, with cubes of 7x7 being used in competitions before, as well as blindfolded challenges. The current fastest solve is 3.47 seconds held by Yu Shengdu. Crazily enough though, robots managed to solve a cube in 0.38 seconds. BrickCan is a LEGO convention for brick building enthusiasts held in Canada, showcasing impressive LEGO creations. The event also hosts elite speed building competitions where competitors have to assemble a LEGO set as fast as possible. The runners are given a month's notice of which set will be used so they have a long enough time to practice and memorize the instructions to build it as fast as possible at the event. The 2019 competition had runners try to build a 490-piece Ninjago Stormfighter jet the fastest, with Avery Robertson taking the win and building it in under 18 minutes. So why do people seek out these kinds of runs? Well, there are several motivations for why people speedrun. I think some of the reasoning is valid here. Speedrunners do what they do because they want to go fast, and some want to go the fastest. That in my opinion is the most underlying and most obvious reason why people do this. However, other reasons do exist. Some people just want to learn the skills that are required to speedrun, with many skips, glitches and tricks requiring some highly dexterous, rapid or precise movements. Games like Portal 2 or Half-Life require the player to have a great degree of accuracy when aiming, and that can be pretty hard to learn. Other games like Celeste or Hollow Knight require some pretty tight movement to optimize their routes as much as possible, while games like Mario 64 or The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker ask of the player to have some excellent timing in order to perform certain glitches that save a ton of time in the speedrun. Above all else, when it comes to these IRL speedruns, the main reason people choose to perform them is to entertain. Obtaining a world record in Mario 64 is an incredible feat, but obtaining the world record for assembling a 20-piece Peppa Pig puzzle in the fastest time, or painting Botero's Pope Leo X in under 3 minutes isn't quite as impressive. This is due in part to a lack of community from either of these examples, but also because they aren't all that astounding. So that leads me to why I think most people have performed IRL speedruns. Comedic entertainment. Yes, most speedrun content out there is entertainment, but these niche types of runs are entertaining and funny because they are such silly ideas. I didn't watch Small Ant's pencil sharpening speedrun just so I could learn how to get better. I watched them because the very idea of trying to get a world record in such a small category was incredibly funny to me. I watched Arcus's burrito videos because they were funny. The second one had an additional layer of comedy because I believed he really wanted to get that world record. For me personally, I made that cake as fast as I could because I thought it'd be incredibly funny to watch me flail around for an hour, trying to get a dessert made and presented quickly. But I also did it because I love bacon, and I honestly wanted to see if I could pull such a feat off. I did very little planning for the cake preparation and dove straight in, and it wasn't until I made the batter that I realized I had to get creative, because a cake that took 15 minutes to bake according to a recipe that I pulled off the internet could not be baked in 25 minutes. Despite the appearance of my cake, I was still proud that I managed to make something edible in that time. So I think that despite these runs not being taken seriously by viewers, there's still an incredible sense of accomplishment and pride that runners take home when they get these world record times. Ultimately, I'd love to see speedrunners and content creators try to attempt more of these ideas and bring a more competitive nature to them. Yes, most of these ideas are inherently silly, but I believe seeing talented individuals expanding their boundaries are a great form of entertainment and an amazing display of skill. Imagine revisiting this video to find out someone had tried to sing It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones as fast as possible, or some guy tried to eat a pear in under 5 seconds. There's an endless amount of possibilities, with some ideas having a real potential to be serious and have a competitive element to them. And personally, I would love to see more of these creative IRL speedruns in the future.